Welcome to Students of Aging, the podcast that honors the incredible journeys and stories of seniors growing older. Tune in and become a part of our community as we redefine what it means to age gracefully and purposefully.
Welcome everybody. My name is Ara. I'm at WoodGreen Community Services, manage the Seniors Active Living Centers and Outreach portfolio. And the best part of that portfolio is the Senior Advisory Group. We are all pretty much like partners in crime at this point, having done several awesome, innovative projects together. Barb is my partner in crime. We've been doing this for the past 3.5 years. To that end, I will give the chance for our panel members to introduce themselves. So I will start with Barb.
Okay, my name is Barb McCutcheon, and I'm the co-chair, along with Ara, of the Senior Advisory Council. And although sometimes it can be very frustrating, it's mostly a lot of fun, and we get to work with such amazing, amazing seniors, which make it all worthwhile. Mary.
Oh, I'm Mary Roy, and I'm one of the founding members of the Senior Advisory Council, now in existence for the past 12 years, maybe a little longer than that even. And we are involved in a lot of really interesting projects for active seniors, and seniors not quite so active as they used to be, like myself.
I'm Queenie Gay, and I've been a member of Senior Advisory for the last 2 years, but also a participant in all the events that happen down here at WoodGreen has to offer to us seniors, and I'm very happy with it. Thank you.
I'm Jessica Hoon. I am one of the male members of the organization, and we have lots of different activities through WoodGreen that are attractive to older people.
One aspect around sort of being a student of aging in this day and age really has to do with the technology that is all around us. And actually, this panel itself is going to be around aging and technology. The challenges, the use cases, what the hell is it? I wanted to sort of bring it down to actually discuss technology and aging. And I will ask my first question to our panel. What are some of the biggest challenges you have faced with learning new technology?
I remember when we started using computers that we had to know Fortran and COBOL and all those other things. And I think we've sort of, in a way, gone back with our media, because in the old days we had telephones, and the telephones had party lines. So not only could the person who is connecting you to your friends hear you, but you could also connect to your other friends. And now we've got Facebook, which does the same thing, and Skype and WhatsApp and all that sort of stuff. So I think we're actually going somewhat backwards. We're going back into the future with our technology. And the challenge is how to control it, how to interact with it in a safe way, and to keep everyone engaged.
I think for technology, a lot of it has to do with the whole idea of putting boundaries on it. Very much with what Jess is saying is that we've gone from like having a telephone to now having all of these different ways to communicate necessarily the same piece of information. So there's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's X, there's this, there's that, all these different ways in order to get things out there, or like even in terms of messaging and Messenger, Snapchat, and you name it, there's all these different ways to do things. And there's an expected immediacy that was not there before when you were just using a telephone, let's say, because I'm old enough to remember there weren't even answering machines, back in the day. But I think that that's the thing with technology, I find, is that there's this continuous repetition of trying to do the same thing over and over again in so slightly different ways, which is very difficult because it's like, okay, I've already learned 8 different ways to do that. Let's just figure out what's the best one, and then I control the narrative. I'm only using the one that works best for me.
I know a guy, happens to be my son, who does help me quite a bit with this. It's so difficult for those of us who grew up in an analog world to make that shift in our brains to a digital world. And this digital world is changing at a far more rapid pace than our analog world ever did. I remember the party lines too, Jess. That was kind of fun at times, wasn't it?
You knew who was eavesdropping.
Just a little bit. No, we can't do that. But that said, I mean, I certainly enjoy the open world that the digital world has brought to us. So, but it's going to be an ongoing thing.
A family friend of mine, and their daughter was probably 2 or 3 at this point, saw a dog playing in their front yard, and she went by the window and she wanted to zoom the window. And how has your relationship with technology changed over the years?
I think it's just a case of trying to get to the point where you go like, enough is enough. Like there's only so many things that I need. And so again, like we were talking a little bit earlier, it's about picking the tools that you really need. So the relationship has certainly changed from going from nothing to going to having all of these different possibilities of how to communicate with people, but picking the one that works for you and then going from there.
My relationship with technology is more than I would like to admit, I think, because I'm on this a lot, way too much. I take pictures, I'm on Facebook, I do a lot of research on the internet with this, and sometimes I even make phone calls, sometimes. But I'm quite addicted to this, and I didn't realize it until I tried to watch a program and read a book and couldn't stay focused. So that's a little challenge for me right now to get back to reading books. I've read 1 book in the last 5 or 6 years, and I used to read about 2 or 3 a week. That's something that I've lost, is that ability to stay focused. So, but I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. It comes to, it sits by my night table because, well, I used to have a phone there. What if I have an emergency? I live by myself. It's got to be handy.
I thought what Mary said was really interesting because I've heard a joke not so long ago that where the idea was that it used to be in the olden days, the first thing you would do when you would wake up in the morning was decide that you should go to the bathroom. And now the first thing you do is you check your email.
Yeah, the difficulty with technology is it can be very invasive, and it can be very helpful as well. When we first introduced Facebook to my mom, she went, "Oh, I don't know. I don't think I can do this." But now she loves talking to her great-grandchildren and her children and grandchildren from around the country. And my sister, who is very technophobic for reasons, she actually uses the translation so she can talk into the phone and it'll tell her what she wants to tell her or relate what it is that she's saying. So there's that translation service available to her, and she feels that a bit more comfortable using that than actually trying to use her thumbs to type. I think that younger people have gotten adapted to it. They've very much socialized so that their lives revolve around technology. And I don't know that older people have gotten to that level yet. I sure hope not.
My relationship with technology goes back to the time I had to learn a keyboard where you have to push the handle back to the other side. Then it progressed to an electric typewriter with a golf ball, and from there to a memory typewriter, which I loved because you could program certain keys and then press it and the whole document comes out, which was great for me until, of course, the Apple computer came around, and that was a wonder. So I have grown with it, and right now I'm stuck a bit because I haven't used it as much as I used to. I'm quite happy with the way I can use certain things, especially banking, where I don't have to go into the bank at all and just do everything on a computer or an iPad or a cell phone.
What role does technology play to help you to age independently, or or in your own experiences, or in friends and family, as Jess just mentioned? So, what role does it play, or help you to age in place?
I did have to go to the emergency room a number of months ago, and it was later in the evening. So my son came by and picked me up and took me over there. Well, you know what it's like at the emergency room. So he stuck around for about 2 or 3 hours until I was booked in and tested and waiting and waiting and waiting. So I sent him home, which meant that I didn't really have a way home myself. And I had no idea when I was going to be finished, as we don't. So I called my other son, and he booked me an Uber from his phone. They picked me up and took me home, and I thought, you know what? I now consider that to be an essential service for my life. So I have an Uber account of my own.
I'm with Queenie with the online banking. Like, to me, it is like such a godsend to be able to, and to reconcile your accounts at the end of the month and to do everything, because it's all there for you and you can just copy and paste it off into Excel if you're the old-fashioned type like I am. Anything that is particularly heavy, once a month we order groceries through Voila. If you didn't know, Voila will deliver to you for free, so long as on your profile they show that you are a senior citizen and that you need a little extra help. They bring anything heavy all the way through to the kitchen, which is amazing, and that's all online. So if you've placed your order and it's like 11:30 at night and they're delivering it at 8 o'clock in the morning, you can just say, apples, I forgot apples. You can go in and you can change it right then and there. So for me, it's those little things like that. And through COVID, being able to have the online connection where you physically saw people, or in some cases, WoodGreen offered all sorts of different courses in that were online. So I know myself and a number of the people who are part of the senior advisory took advantage of learning Spanish during the lockdown. So it was, you can't beat these things. Like, these are pretty good.
While Mary was speaking, it occurred to me that there are so many little things I take for granted. I just take it for granted because my son gave me a watch, an Apple Watch, because it connects to my cell phone. And it gives you the heartbeats. So if your heartbeat is low, it tells you that. It tells you how you're sleeping, when you're disturbed during your sleep, and when you're having your deep sleep. That's something I just connected. But the main thing that got me with technology and the changes is when I went to live with my son and his family during COVID. He's an IT person, so everything is technology based, to the point of even turning on my room light. I got so just frustrated with it. One day I said to my little grandchild, Artie, just go and turn on the light for Grand. And he goes to the machine and says, Siri, turn on the light for Grand.
Yeah, technology is a wonderful thing, particularly with medicine, because doctors can share files and information. Any tests that you have done, they don't have to be physically transported. X-rays are automatically available. So all these technology things are very helpful for medicine, they're telemedicine. What I find a bit challenging is access. We get so many robocalls from various people we don't want to hear about, like politicians, and then the scams and things of that nature. So you have to be careful when using technology to keep yourself secure, clear your messages and the other forms of technology that you're using, so that hopefully you're not being monitored.
Are there any other apps that in particular have made a big impact on your life?
Well, I can't sell short the social media apps either, because I do enjoy spending time on Facebook and YouTube, and I can do that at any time, day or night. If I can't sleep at night, or if I wake up during the night, I can go on my phone. I'm not going to disturb anybody. It's entertaining. I don't have to get up. I just sit there, and in that, because I live alone, that's quite nice company for me.
I was just going to say that Michael Caine was in my bed last night.
Oh.
This was a big plug for the Toronto Public Library for the online books. And so I'm reading a book that I actually physically own the physical copy of, but I'm doing it on their audiobooks. And I'm a great believer in audiobooks, because sometimes when you look at Barbara Streisand's 1,000-page memoir, which I actually own in hardcover too, because someone gave it to me, and it took I think 24 hours to listen to. but it was so pleasant to hear the actual voice of the person that was telling their story. So the app from the library that gives you the books is phenomenal. So it's one of my favorites for sure.
I find that Kindle is a favorite for me. I can download books and I don't actually have to physically store them or put them on a shelf or anything like that. And I can access them anywhere I want. I oftentimes go on the subway, and rather than listen to the arguments going on around me, I just dive into my book and I'm there. I don't have to interact. But I think that's a challenge as well, because part of the joy of being human is having people around you and being able to look at each other and talk to each other and have community, which is why the WoodGreen groups are so important, is that you actually physically in the present with other people. I think that oftentimes we can get lost in our media and our technology to the point that we never leave home. And that to me is a challenge. It's something that I don't want to do. I want to see people. And so that's, even though I love automatic banking and getting money from everywhere automatically, it's terrific. But I want to go to the bank and see a teller, say hello, do some interaction, things like that.
For me, Facebook has been a boon, because not just Facebook, because I see pictures of all my family who live overseas, every part of the world, I would say, starting in India, Dubai, wherever, Australia. But FaceTime is what I treasure, because I use it to speak to my grandchildren, and they perform for me, they read for me, they dance. So FaceTime is wonderful to have as one of the apps. And when during COVID time, I believe I used Teams, because we couldn't come down here to do the exercises that I enjoyed. So Teams was great.
I'm just going to tag on to the end of that, because the nice thing too is I find one of my favorite apps is the one that is for podcasts. So I know on my iPhone where to find it, but for me it is a wealth of information. It's everything from mindless, like let's hear what's going on in TMZ today, to people telling you about the Gilded Age. There's all sorts of history things on it. Anything you can possibly think of, there is a podcast for it. And I just, by far, it's probably the one I use all the time.
If you could invent any technology to make it easier for you as you age, and to age in place, and to age in place independently, as you invent any technology, what would that be? What it would help you with? Because I feel like our podcast is really, well, that's what we're going to work towards, going to be the place to come and learn about aging. And as we all know, there needs to be more resources and more services for people in our communities to age in place. So what would that be?
Well, with the advent of AI, we talk about aging in place, and one of the challenges, there's so many different organizations, particularly in East Toronto. We have over 100 different organizations who can help people age in place. And as older people, getting through all that stuff, or dialing the number and waiting on hold for long periods of time is very inconvenient and somewhat frustrating. So I think that having an AI that can sift through all that stuff when we're looking for a particular service, whether it's getting your feet done or help, I've fallen, I can't get up, I think would be useful to have that technology available to us. We've talked about having people in buildings who will be the facilitator or the coordinator for people who live in the building, but having instant access through an AI bot might be the best way to go about that.
I miss people. I really hate calling someplace and going through all the different prompts. And I'm constantly saying, speak to a representative, speak to a representative, It's like, I just want to talk to someone. And I think that it's really not an application, but it's more in terms of doing things where there's opportunities for people to be face to face with someone who understands these technologies. WoodGreen Senior Advisory did this a few years ago where we partnered with some young people. They came to the center and they sat with us with your individual cell phone. I remember there was one gentleman from our advisory that was there, and he said, I need to know how to text. I need to know how to do FaceTime. And she said, great. And she showed him exactly how to do it. And then we were able to do testing of it that. So I think a lot of it is, to a little bit what Jess was saying, is that connection. You need the connection with real people as well to help make these apps work for us.
I have the Google equivalent to Alexa, one in my bedroom and one in my living room. And I talk to that thing all day long. What's the weather? How old is so-and-so? You know, do I have appointments today? When is my this chiropody appointment, for example? So I really find that great. And it again, in terms of keeping me company, play Carly Simon's greatest hits, play Bob Seger's greatest hits, and so forth. So I really do enjoy my technology company during the day.
I'm not a huge fan of the whole AI thing. Like, I find I'm so frustrated when I'm writing something, and I think it's called Copilot, comes on and says, I can reword that for you. And I'm like, hey, I've got an English degree. You don't have to reword this for me. This is the way I want it to say. It's just so frustrating that there's a consideration that there's a better AI way to the way you want to say something. That isn't the word I wanted to use this word, or whatever. But I know we were seeing on Facebook the other day, they now have mechanical cats. And the same idea, so that if you're old and lonely and you can't have a cat anymore, you get a mechanical cat sort of thing that you can talk to. It'll kind of talk back to you and things of that nature. I always get a little scared of Alexa and stuff like that, because I keep thinking they're storing all this data somewhere. Mm-hmm. So one day it's going to say, it's 11 o'clock. Why aren't the bedroom lights out yet? Or something like, I don't know. I find the whole AI thing a little on the scary side, just in terms of the amount of information that they know about you, all of this sort of stuff. Jess is nodding and
I agree with you, but I do wish more people would use spell check and grammar check.
Oh, yes.
Because oftentimes I get messages, and unless I'm psychic, I really can't understand what the other person is trying to get to. Because the robot at the other end has decided that they didn't like or love. They had to use some other word, like lake.
Yeah.
And that's really annoying, because I know that the person on the other end, like yourself, is intelligent, and because the interpreter of the system wants to turn it into something else, then they need to do spell check too, and grammar check and thought check.
I'm with Jess on this. Like, all of a sudden, especially if it's someone's name, like you'd say, Maynard and I are going someplace. Mayonnaise and I are going someplace. Like, it's like, where did you get that from? Like, it's just so crazy.
I don't know if anybody heard Rachel Maddow on MSNBC the other night speaking about an athlete whose last name was Gay, G-A-Y, Gay. And since somebody's government decided that that's an illegal word, they've gone through all publications with his last name and replaced his last name with the word homosexual. So now, so, it does get to be absurd at times.
Actually, the reason why we all laughed is that Queenie's last name
is gay. Is gay.
Oh, of course.
It is your last name.
Not my married name, which I use on social media.
But we promise not to call you.
No, we won't call you
Queenie homosexual.
No, we won't.
I'm used to it by now. I've lived with it for 76 years. So.
On WoodGreen's YouTube page, as you go in and you type in WoodGreen Community Services, on the YouTube page, our episodes have already been released. And on a weekly basis, so every Monday, a new episode will be released on the YouTube page. And then, for our audio version, the Apple Podcast, as Barb said, it's a go about your day. You don't really want to watch something, you can freely listen. And it's the exact same episode. I want to say, Jeff, Ben, Mary, Barb, Queenie, Jess, Janya, Sandra, Mavis, Maria, Rochelle, Nadia, the members of our advisory group, Sheila, who is not here. They were all just such a
Ron, who's not here.
Ron, who is not here, a phenomenal group of people to work with. I hope to
Aw.
say that you're able to enjoy the podcast. Every one of us here are students of aging. So to that end, I want to thank everybody. Let's enjoy the rest of our afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing content every week. If you want to catch more of our adventures, check out the videos right here on our YouTube channel. And remember to leave a comment below. Let us know what you think or what you'd like to see next. We love hearing from you. Catch you in the next one.
On the next episode,